Broskis, super welcome to what probably is the last video of the year. And with that, I just want to take a brief moment to thank every single one of you that actually watched one of my videos. Every single one of you who hit that subscribe. Because those subscribe numbers, that's really what fuels me in keeping doing this. I want to see that number grow. It makes me happy. It gives me motivation. So thank you. And a massive thank you to everyone who popped in to one of my streams. And a humongous, insanely big thank you to all the members, to all the Patreons, and to all the super chatters. Without you guys, what I make on this platform would be this. So thank you. Thank you for making it so that I actually earn a buck in doing this. It's been a very exciting year. We had the brutal indie showcase that was the highlight of the year. We had so many new broskis popping in. We had an insane amount of awesome games. And I do have a compilation list of the top 20 best first-person shooters of the year. So check that out if you haven't. But for now, let's dive in to what comes in the first month of 2026. Let's go. Broskis, the first game on this list is absolutely unhinged. And I mean that in the best way possible. ODDCORE throws you into a retro first-person shooter roguelike where you got 5 minutes. And that's it. 5 minutes to stylishly explode your way through hordes of corrupted entities inside what can only be described as a liminal fever dream. You do have a little bit more than 5 minutes, but you gotta make sacrifices to get more time. And yeah, Timmy is here to help. Don't ask questions, just accept it. Now visually, this game is wild. It blends super simple, low poly, pixelated graphics with more advanced effects, and somehow that combination works way better than it has any right to. You constantly feel like you're trapped inside a broken arcade machine that's actively losing its mind. And honestly, that's kind of the appeal here. The pace, it is fast, it looks smooth, and everything about feels aggressive in a good way. The audio absolutely carries. The soundtrack goes way harder than expected. And because the levels are fully randomized, no two runs ever seem to play out the same. Every attempt feels like controlled chaos. Now in the first version of Early Access, there's already a ridiculous amount of content. We're talking 13 unique weapons, 10 special gadgets, and over 70 stackable items. And 50 plus different arenas that appear in random order, including some really crazy side arena things. Yeah, something weird, yeah. And toss in 25 different enemy types, full-on boss battles, and a hub world that's just as unhinged as the rest of the game. And for some weird reason, because this game wasn't weird enough already, the hub has an arcade place loaded with different machines that you can play and actually win rewards from. You collect tickets and then you buy rewards with those tickets. You're really encouraged to play them. And add in 52 different achievements and an adapting soundtrack. Yeah, it's doing a lot, this game. A lot. And I know what you're thinking, it looks crazy, it's a roguelite, maybe it's not your thing, but trust me, with everything this game is throwing at you, it feels way more special than your average run-based shooter. And if all of that sounds like your kind of madness, ODDCORE drops on January the 7th. Now next up, we're switching things up a bit, because this one is actually an extraction shooter, and it's called The Midnight Walkers. And I'm gonna be real with you, I had never heard of this game before researching for this video, but apparently this thing already has a ton of wishlists and followers, so clearly it's been cooking quietly in the background while I wasn't looking. Now at its core, The Midnight Walkers is a co-op extraction shooter that you can play solo or with friends, and honestly, it looks really damn good, at least graphically. From the footage that we're seeing here, the lighting, the environments, the atmosphere, it all looks surprisingly polished for something that totally flew under my radar. And now the more I think about it, the more interesting it actually gets. I genuinely can't think of another first-person zombie extraction shooter that really nails this specific vibe that this one has. It kind of feels like someone mashed together Left 4 Dead with The Day Before, you know, that game that everybody loved. I'm talking mostly in terms of setting and enemy design. And yeah, please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong here, but I can't really think of another extraction shooter doing zombies like this. Now, according to the people who already played this seems to be a legit banger. It's a hardcore PvPvE first-person zombie extraction game where you either go in solo or run in trios. You get to scavenge for loot, gear up, fight zombies and other survivors, and then try to extract in one piece. If you make it out alive, you get to craft, buy, sell, and slowly build stronger loadouts for future runs. But if you die, Yeah, you lose everything you brought with you. Full wipe, no mercy. Very much, you know, classic extraction shooter rules, just wrapped in a more darker, horrific zombie setting. And I actually didn't expect to say this, but yeah, I might actually be down for this one. The Midnight Walkers is set to release on January the 29th. Now this one might already be a strong contender for the craziest game of 2026, and somehow it's dropping already in January 8th. Yeah, 8 days into the year, no warm-up, no mercy. This game is called What the F Am I Playing? And no, that's not me reacting, that is literally the game's title. The whole premise is built around that exact question. This game proudly throws logic, structure and sensible design straight out the window. It's a fast-paced, retro-inspired first-person shooter that looks like it was assembled during a caffeine-fueled existential crisis, and that's absolutely the point here. You're thrown into pure chaos, weird enemies, ridiculous weapons, sudden platforming sections, puzzles that appear when you least expect them, and moments that feel like the game itself is actively messing with you. There's minimal guidance, you're figuring things out as you go, and half the time you're just trying to keep up while wondering how you even ended up here. It blends classic first-person shooter chaos with experimental comedy, surreal horror, and gameplay ideas that feel intentionally uncomfortable in the best way possible. And visually, yeah, it looks awful. And I mean that as a compliment. The jank, the ugliness, the confusion, it's all very clearly intentional here. And honestly, that commitment alone makes me respect it. And I'm not even gonna pretend here, I will 100% be playing this game. This feels like exactly the kind of game the world needs after a wild New Year's party, when your brain is still rebooting and you're questioning reality anyway. So WTF Am I Playing drops on January the 8th. Just a quick reminder, broski, if you haven't, join the Discord link down below, it is that good. And if you're liking the video so far, hit that like, and if you want more, hit that subscribe. Let's continue. Alright my broskis, next up we got something a little more classic in structure. This one is a linear, campaign-focused action-adventure first-person shooter set on a zombie-infested island. Town, I mean it looks like it. The game drops you into a world that's been completely wrecked by a failed experiment, and now the place is crawling with relentless zombies and some genuinely unsettling mutations. I mean seriously, I just love that for us. That's what we want. Yeah. You'll be pushing through a series of handcrafted environments, abandoned cities, dark swamps, creepy in-between areas, armed with a full arsenal to deal with whatever nightmare decides to crawl out of the shadows next. Very spooky, very dramatic. Thank you video game description for that info. And instead of branching paths or sandbox chaos, the whole experience follows a tight linear mission structure. You're moving from one dangerous location to the next, searching for answers, safety, and maybe proof that you're not the last human left alive. And that doesn't sound half bad at all to me. The visuals, they're actually looking pretty solid as well. And I genuinely like the idea of a story-driven linear zombie first-person shooter. We don't get many of those anymore. Everything's either co-op, open-ended, or a roguelite. So this feels like a nice change of pace. Now, I have to mention this though. A quick but very important disclaimer. This game does include an AI-generated content disclosure on its Steam page. The developers, they have confirmed that generative AI was used to enhance a handful of pre-rendered assets, both for the store page and within the game itself. And the journey through the Undead, with its generative AI, drops on January the 15th. Alright broskis, next up we got another roguelite, but this one is doing some really strange things as well. It consumes is a very dark roguelite arena first-person shooter that almost feels Survivor-like, but twisted into something way more unsettling. The entire game is set in near total darkness, and the core idea is simple but weird as hell. You can't really see unless you make yourself see. Instead of traditional visibility, you're using strange objects to reveal your surroundings, exposing demons hiding in the shadows while upgrading your abilities and unlocking new weapons to survive longer. And yeah, it gets even weirder. At times you're basically using your own heart and its heartbeat to send out sound waves that briefly reveals the environment. You don't see permanently, you glimpse, and then everything fades back into darkness. Conceptually, it's super weird. Visually, very minimal, and gameplay-wise, I honestly have no idea how well this actually works in practice. There is a demo available on Steam, which is good news, but full transparency, I haven't played it yet, so if any of you have tried the demo, definitely let me know down in the comments how this thing actually feels to play, because from the outside, it's hard to tell if this is genius or madness. Could possibly be both. On the surface, however, it looks very simple. The arenas, they're stripped down, enemy designs are minimal, and the weapons, they aren't very flashy at all, but that doesn't automatically mean much. If the core gameplay loop is fun, engaging, and addictive, this could easily turn into one of those just one more run survivor-style time sinks. Now, we can all find out soon enough, because it consumes releases on January the 21st. Now this, my friends, is Highguard. It is a brand new free-to-play first-person hero shooter from developers who worked on Apex, Titanfall, and yeah, probably Call of Duty, maybe some Battlefield, who even knows at this point. And yes, this is that game. The one that closed out the Game Awards, or last year's Game Awards, depending on when you're watching this, and was clearly meant to be the big mic drop moment of the show. Instead, it became the big fiasco, like genuinely impressive levels of reading the room and doing the exact opposite. A fiasco you would never seen on something like Brutal Indies Unleashed, hosted by me, myself and I with the help of RetroVibe. I mean, I'm just saying, okay? Now visually and conceptually, this thing looks painfully generic. It looks like the exact type of game that gamers across the entire planet have been screaming that they do not want right now. And I honestly find it kind of fascinating that so much money, talent, and effort can be poured into something without anyone stopping for even half a second to ask, what do gamers actually want right now? What's working? What's selling? And somehow landing on this. I don't think I've ever been more confident in predicting a game struggling at launch. That said, as this part is important, this is a self-published title from a newly created studio, so genuinely, for the developer's sake, I hope that I'm wrong. I hope it finds a solid player base, I hope it's secretly fun, and I hope the gameplay hard carries everything else. Now, will I play it? Probably not. Will I play it purely for the comedy? There is a chance. We'll find out when Highguard launches January 26th. Next up, we got Don't Stop Girlypop, which is dropping on January 29th, and yeah, that is the real name of this game. This one's a linear campaign boomer shooter clearly inspired by the fast, aggressive, almost ultra kill style philosophy, and unlike the previous games on this list, ODDCORE not included, this is one where I can actually say I played the demo. It's live on Steam right now and I spent some time with it. So let's address the elephant in the room first. This game has a very strong girly pop aesthetic. A lot of pink, a lot of cuteness, a lot of vibes that are not really my personal preference. And if I'm going to be completely honest here, which I always try to be, I don't think that style fits particularly well with this kind of first-person shooter. While playing it, it just didn't give me a great vibe overall. That said though, is it a bad game? No, not at all. Mechanically, it actually has some solid ideas. The core hook is movement. You're not meant to stop ever. The faster you move, the more damage you deal. There are jump pads everywhere, grappling hook points, movement chains, all designed to keep you flying through the levels at full speed. And when that clicks, it can feel really good. It also looks like the full game will feature a decent variety of biomes, from what I have seen. It's not going to be cute and pink 24/7, there are hints of more lava-filled, almost hellish environments later on, which is a bit more my jam, not gonna lie. But even with all that, the demo just didn't fully land for me. The movement is doing most of the heavy lifting, but the combat itself didn't feel very satisfying. I didn't get those punchy, rewarding kills that I personally look for in a shooter like this. So yeah, I'm actually not very hyped for Don't Stop Girlypop, but that doesn't mean it's not worth talking about. A lot of people are genuinely excited for this game, and I don't want to take that away from anyone. If this style clicks with you, awesome. If this is your thing, go wild. And if featuring it here helps it reach someone who's going to love it, that's a win in my book. At the end of the day, it's not a bad game, it's just not one that really hits my personal shooter taste. Alright broskis, coming up next we got something a little different and pretty ambitious. StarRupture drops on January 6th, and this one is a survival first-person shooter with a heavy focus on exploration and base building. At its core, StarRupture is a first-person open-world survival game where you're dropped into a hostile alien planet that very clearly does not want you there. You can play it solo or with friends, and from what we're seeing, the scale of this world is pretty damn impressive. Graphically, it also looks pretty gorgeous. The gameplay loop revolves around extracting and managing resources, building up a complex industrial system, and then defending all of that hard work from waves of alien creatures. You'll be searching, mining, and processing materials to expand your base, unlock new technologies, and basically do everything you can do to survive the planet's increasingly harsh conditions. And when it comes to the survival, it's not just about combat. The planet itself is constantly throwing things at you. Extreme temperatures, environmental hazards, and unpredictable events seems to play a big role here. So it's not just build a base, shoot aliens, repeat. You actually need to plan ahead a little bit if you want your operation to stay standing. But just to put a little bit of an emphasis on it, there is fighting off hordes of enemies in this game as well, alone or in co-op. Now the game is developed by CreepyJar, and I have no idea who they are, but they really seem to know what they're doing when it comes to survival base building first-person shooters. It definitely looks very ambitious and very polished. Hopefully it stays like that. And if you're into survival games that let you build something massive, optimize systems, and then desperately defend it when everything starts falling apart, this one might be worth keeping an eye on. Alright, next up is a game that has been absolutely everywhere already, and yeah, there is a good reason for that. This one is being published by Devolver Digital and developed by Brigade Games, and it drops on January the 12th. There is also a demo up on Steam right now, which probably explains why half of YouTube has already touched it. Now in Quarantine Zone The Last Check, you play as a border patrol officer stationed at the edge of a quarantine zone during a zombie outbreak. Your job is simple. On paper, people show up and you decide whether they're clean enough to enter the safe haven or whether they are getting locked up with the infected. You'll be checking civilians for zombie bites, infections, and all kinds of suspicious symptoms. And the game goes way hard with this idea. You got different tools and examination methods, everything from x-rays to microscopes that can see through clothing and reveal things people probably don't want you finding out about. On top of that, there is a ton of weird dialogue, dark humor, and morally questionable choices. And yeah, you can straight up knock people out with a hammer or bust their nuts with it. This game clearly knows exactly what kind of chaos it's aiming for, and it delivers. But it doesn't stop at inspections. There's a much deeper management layer here. You can upgrade the quarantine zone itself, improve living conditions, reinforce defenses, and upgrade your guards. You're not just playing border cop, you're slowly shaping how this place functions and survives. And when things inevitably go south, you'll also have to defend the quarantine zone from zombie hordes trying to break in. That includes first-person shooting, manning turrets from the walls, and even controlling drones that can fly out and light things up. It looks hella fun, like way more fun than it has any right to be. And yeah, I'll probably end up streaming this at some point, because this feels like one of those games that just creates moments naturally. Alright broskis, last but not least, we got something a little different to close this out. This is Sector Zero. And yeah, this one is not a shooter. I know, calm down, just hear me out on this one. Sector Zero is currently slated for January 2026. With no exact date yet, so I'm really hoping that it actually lands in January. Otherwise, yeah, it's technically taking up space in this video, but regardless, it looks really damn cool. Visually, it immediately stands out. The entire game is presented in this striking black and white art style where everything is outlined, almost like a living sketch or a graphic novel come to life. It looks clean, eerie, instantly memorable, and gameplay-wise, this is a physics-based first-person puzzle adventure set in a dark sci-fi world. No guns, no explosions, just atmosphere, puzzles, and some very heavy vibes. And there might actually be explosions, I don't know. It just sounded good saying that. And you know what? After all the chaos, bullets, zombies, and roguelites in this list, a bit of a slower, more thoughtful gameplay can at times be pretty nice. The story of the game, however, is what really hooked me and made me interested in this. You play as a fragment of an ancient hive mind entity, awakened after human mining operations dug way too deep inside of a massive asteroid. The colonists were greedy. They tore into the asteroid for resources, and deep in its core, they uncovered something they were never meant to find. An ancient hive mind known as the Corruption. Yup, that sounds interesting as hell if you ask me. Now, the entire game takes place inside this colossal asteroid as it's being ripped apart, and the narrative unfolds through exploration and environmental storytelling. It's very much a dark sci-fi puzzle experience rather than a traditional action game, if you didn't get that. Now, it is going to be a short one as well, roughly 1 hour for the main story, with another 2 hours if you're hunting secrets and achievements. But honestly, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If it is tight, focused and well paced, it can still be a more memorable experience over something that ends up being bloated. But hopefully, it will be priced accordingly as well. Now, let's just hope that it actually drops in January 2026. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. What an insane starting month. Let me know down in the comments what is your favorite game of this video, and let's talk a little bit about it. And until next time, Papa Slim loves ya. Over and out.